Hi guys, I'm back again with another book review. I actually really enjoyed the last video that I made because if you've watched it, you probably noticed that I'm very passionate about things that, like books that are, like they have the potential to be good and they just don't quite get there. So this is another book with that kind of same vibe. I don't want to be a person who's kind of like trash talking other authors because as you know, I'm trying to get noticed as an author myself, so I just don't think that's a very good vibe to have. But when I'm going to be talking badly about books, it's from authors that I actually genuinely like and that I know have potential to be good, and so they've just kind of dropped the ball on this particular book, and that's the case for the book that we're going to be talking about today, and that is The Girl in Red by Christina Henry. And to show that I am actually an avid Christina Henry fan, these are all the books that I own of hers. I really liked Alice. The Red Queen is good. I can't really remember what happens in it. Lost Boy is one of my favourite books. The Mermaid is okay, wouldn't recommend. And then The Girl in Red is what we're going to be talking about today. And also I realised literally 10 minutes ago that I actually lied in my other video, and I don't like being a liar, so I'm going to address that right now. I said that I will finish a book even if I don't like it because I think it's to show just respect to the author. But there is a book that I put down and do not plan on picking up again to finish reading, and that is The Road by Cormac McCarthy. I know that a lot of people really like this book. I know some people who this is one of their favourite books, and I'm going to say right now that I think it's garbage. I think that, and I feel okay saying that because I've looked up Cormac McCarthy and he seems like not a nice dude. So yeah, it's just badly written. There's no punctuation in it. There's two male characters that don't have names. And that is super confusing. And also, the characters have no personalities whatsoever. They're just trying to survive. And the plot is really boring. And it's not that it's like not my type of book. It's like too bleak or too dark and it's not my cup of tea. Like, it genuinely is. Like, I've written darker stuff. I've read darker stuff. Like, it's just not a good book for me personally. So I wanted to address that, and also it kind of links up to this because it's kind of a similar plot, which is total coincidence. But some things just work out. So yeah, if you are planning to read The Girl in Red, I would suggest not watching this video because I'm going to be going into detail about the plot. So yeah, let's get into the book. So first things first is this isn't a retelling of Red Riding Hood. It is supposed to be, but the only correlation is that the main girl likes to be called Red and she wants to get to her grandma's house. That is it. More things to mention. She is biracial. She has a black mum and a white dad. This seems relevant but also really isn't. It's kind of like smushed in there for not a really good reason in my opinion, because basically this is set in a world where there's a pandemic, which is funny because I started reading this at the start of this pandemic. But basically there is this disease that is airborne. It is called the cough because clearly you couldn't think of a better name, and the mum gets it, and they, just before they're getting ready to go to grandma's house, and the mum is like, well, I'm going to slow you down so I might as well stay, and the dad is like, yeah, I'm going to stay too, and Red is like, excuse me, what? to the dad. And there's a scene that's actually really good in this, is yeah, the dad's like, I'm going to stay with my wife because I love her. And Red is like, are you serious? We're your kids. And she actually makes a really good point. She's like, yeah, I get that she's your wife and you love her, but she's my mum and I only get one. Like, you can get remarried, I can't get another mum. And that was really good. I really liked that scene. I like that Red isn't, I guess, calling out her dad for being an idiot. But that doesn't solve anything. The dad still stays there. And instead of the mum dying from the cough, she gets killed by racists, which are not mentioned in the rest of the book. So it's kind of like, why is that thrown in there? It just seems really weird because, like, there was already a trajectory of her dying. Like, I get that, like, the parents needed to die so that Red had to be on her own, but that how you gonna kill her? So that happened. This is just the start of, like, just this wild ride that is just a lot of what throughout this entire book. So Adam, her brother, and Red go off on their own to get to Grandma's house because they think they're going to be safe because she lives in the woods on her own. And on the way, they need food, so they go to a petrol station. Oh, they're trying to hide from the military because the military are collecting people and putting them in quarantine camps. But Red has a sneaky suspicion that is just a breeding ground for the virus, so she's like, we're better off on our own. So they go to get food from a gas station, and while they're in the gas station, they find a dead body whose insides are all up on their outsides. And the rib cage is broken open, and they're like, did this guy cough so violently that his chest exploded? But no. They find this, like, bloody trail coming out of his body. And this is, again, another point where you're like, what? I didn't read this blurb, so I was not expecting this. But it turns out that he had some weird slug alien inside him that burst free, and it kills Adam. And literally, like, Red is crying for a little bit over dead Adam, and then just casually just refers to him as the body on the floor. He just died. He's your brother, he just died. But he's nothing but a corpse now. So at this point, there's another version of the military that are like fake military that find her, but she gets away. And then she picks up these kids in the woods that aren't relevant, so I'm not going to go into them. There's no point in them in the story. Oh, I forgot to mention, she's an amputee. This is also not relevant. I get that Christina Henry probably wanted, like, inclusivity with, amputees, but basically she has a prosthetic leg, and it's kind of relevant in the sense that, like, she has a very love-hate relationship with her leg. It slows her down, and she gets really annoyed by the fact that she needs to rest a lot and stuff, but she's also very stubborn and wants to kind of prove that she is able-bodied. So she kind of has this, like, competition with herself kind of thing, which is good, but at the same time I don't think it adds anything extra to the story. So yeah, that wasn't needed to be mentioned. So then pretty much we're at the end of the book at this point. She meets the military guys again, and she gets attacked by one of the slug things. She kills the slug thing, and the military guy is like, oh no, she's found out what we've been trying to hide. And she's like, tell me what's going on, I deserve to know. And he's just like, it's classified. And then she gets to Grandma's house. And that's the end of the book. Also, I want to mention that this is actually written in a non-linear format, which is something that I've done before and is really difficult, but works really well depending on what the book is. And it actually does really work well in this because you get to see the difference between Red when she's with her family and Red when she's on her own. Because Red in the kind of past is very anti-guns and anti like violence, and then Red afterwards is like killing a man with an axe. And to be honest, I don't like that transition. I think it's really weird. Like, as much as like she's very much into survival, I think if you're a person who is that against violence, to then kill someone with an axe, like, no matter what the situation is, I think that's a bit extreme. Because, like, to be honest, personally, if I had to kill someone, I would rather kill them with like a gun than like an axe, because there's something really like visceral and like violent about like hacking up someone than like just shooting them. So the fact that she was like, oh no gun violence, but I'm gonna chop up this man, it doesn't really fit. Another thing needs to be said is that there is a wolf on this cover. There is no wolf in this entire book. And I was expecting a wolf. I thought, genuinely, because like I said, I didn't read the blurb, I thought this was going to be like a PG version of Angela Carter's The Company of Wolves. I thought there was going to be some maybe werewolves in it, or something to do with wolves at some extent. Not. Instead, it's weird tapeworms with teeth. The only relevance of the wolf is that when Red is on her own in the woods, there's a creepy man, and he kind of like comes over to her, and she's immediately like, well, he's gonna kill me, because he's a man. And she refers to him as a coyote, and throughout the book, whenever she mentions this guy, which isn't very often, she just refers to him as the coyote, not the human man. Which I get, because it's kind of showing like that this kind of weird post-apocalyptic world has kind of just skewed people and turned them weirdly animalistic, and I get that. So that was The Girl in Red. If you like dark retellings of fairy tales, I would recommend Lost Boy and Alice by Christina Henry, but not this one. Hope you liked the review.